and welcome to Hypnotize Me, the podcast about hypnosis, transformation, and healing. This is Dr. Elizabeth Bonet, and I'm your host. This podcast is not a substitute for mental health treatment, nor should it be. If you need therapy or hypnotherapy, please seek a trained professional. I do hypnosis all over the world, so if you'd like to learn more about me, you can do that at my website, drlizhypnosis.com. That's DRLIZ hypnosis.com. Now on to our episode. Hi everyone, it's Dr. Liz and welcome to Hypnotize Me. We went over 100,000 downloads last week. So I just want to tell you a great big thank you. Thank you so much for helping me get there and sharing the podcast and listening to the podcast and telling a friend about it and subscribing. This is just a huge milestone for a podcast, and I honestly never imagined that it would get this far when I first started it. So thank you so much for that. An update on the eyes. I know some of you have been asking. The right eye is doing much better, and it was actually having some more rebound swelling. So finally, I actually went up to my own hypnosis mentor. So I have one in Orlando, Dr. Joyce Glasser, who trained me in the core healing technique. And then I have another one, Marty Nathan, who's in Boca Raton, Florida. And I called him and I was like, Marty, I need some help here. You know, I'm doing a lot of self-hypnosis, but I think I need someone with 30 years of experience to help me out here. So I went up and we did a lovely hypnosis. And he actually taught me a new technique to use that I absolutely love. And it's been much better since then. Honestly. So what happens when you're on the steroid drops is that your body stops doing that itself. It starts relying on the drops. And so when you stop them or try to decrease them, it sometimes goes, whoa, wait a minute. You know, no, we want those drops. So the more that you can help yourself decrease the swelling, your own self, decrease any of that affect yourself, the better. The more they're going to be like, we're totally fine without the drops. So that's what happened with right eye. It's much better since then. The drops are steadily decreasing and everything is getting better and better. Like it always does, right? I really believe the body has this natural ability to heal itself. And sometimes we need help from the medical establishment. But in general, the more help we can give it with our own mindset, the better. Okay, let's jump into our interview with Robin Yates. She put together a website with all kinds of free meditations and hypnosis because she really thought, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube, which is true, but it's not all good, but you don't always know it. And sometimes you're falling asleep to it and you don't quite even know what they're saying to you. So she's like, I really wanted a site with some very good, excellent hypnosis and meditations that I knew were put together by ethical, excellent practitioners. So we're going to talk to her about her idea and the two meditations she did about imposter syndrome as well as money panic. So let's jump in. Enjoy. Hi, Robin. Welcome to the Hypnotize Me podcast.
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me.
I was so excited to see the project that you're putting together. And for the listeners, Robin and I are in a Hypnotica women's group on Facebook. So it's all women who do hypnosis. And it's been really helpful and valuable, I know for myself. How long have you been part of the group?
Probably about 2 years. You know, I'm a little bit more active at some times and then not at others, but it's an amazing group.
Yeah, it is. I think I've only been in there definitely not a year, probably a couple of months, because someone I interviewed told me about it and I found it so helpful and really supportive, a really wonderful group.
Yeah, really, really great hypnotherapists and great people.
Yes. So Robin had posted that she's putting together a website to offer all these free hypnosis files for people. So tell me how you came up with this idea.
Okay, I I've been working with clients for a while, and I've noticed that a lot of them will go to YouTube and other places looking for free energy clearing, free meditations, free hypnosis. It's not necessarily a good thing. So as I was thinking, all of the people that work like I do, we give away usually a free hypnosis or at least an intro to get people to understand what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what a better way to have one place where we could all share these. I mean, they're good meditations, these meditations for free. So these people that are searching can actually go to a place that is tried and true, and they're not getting anything that they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it would be a really great resource for both people searching for free hypnosis online and us as therapists, as hypnotherapists, as energy workers, or whatever, meditators, to offer what we do and see if there's a connection.
Ah, yeah, it's wonderful. And I agree with you. I definitely have clients that tell me, yeah, I put on YouTube or I found something really helpful on YouTube. And you're right. Like, you don't always know what the background is of that person or whether it's a quote unquote good hypnosis or good meditation.
Right.
Although there is a part, it's like, I always assume the best,
It,
but you don't really know. You don't.
yeah, and I've done it. I've gone looking for different things on YouTube, and you think it is mostly, I think 99.9% is good, but I have
Yes.
had clients come to me that say, "Yeah, I was listening to this amazing track, and now I don't feel so good." I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay,
yeah.
let's see." Yeah, so that was kind of in the back of my mind, and
Mhm.
then this project sort of came together. I mentioned it to a couple friends, and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." And here it is. So,
Cool, cool. So what kind of hypnosis and meditation files are on the website? Like, what can people find?
well, right now we're basically just starting. So
Mhm,
there's about, maybe a half a dozen. There's not that many. We have one that you graciously gave us of cancer,
mhm.
working with, you know, working with cancer. There's a couple about anxiety and stress. Um, I haven't put mine up yet. Let's see. I'm one of the slackers.
What is yours
Um,
gonna be?
Well, that's part of the problem. I'm undecided. I'm going between two. One is the the fear of not having money. There's so much lack of money
Mhm.
right now
Yeah.
that I've noticed with my clients. There's fear and lack around money
Mhm.
and the other is what I call imposter syndrome and not wanting to step out and do what it is you really are called to do because you're afraid. So
Mhm.
I'm making myself choose one and I'm sort of flip flopping between them.
Uh-huh.
So
They're both good. They're both really good topics.
yes, I haven't decided, but I'm kind of like I'm making myself decide by the end of this weekend. So it'll be up by this week. Um,
Wonderful. And then what's your goal? Like, how many would you like to have on the site?
I would like to see at least 60.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I really want to. I've been asking people, like, think of things that are outside of the box. Like, I'm looking for someone to do one on fibromyalgia
Ooh.
because I've had like that type of thing. Find things that are like really going to be helpful.
Mhm,
So, say somebody's really searching, really doesn't have the funds or the time, or for whatever reason can't go see a hypnotherapist,
mhm,
because obviously that's, to me, that's, the fastest way, but they'll still find help.
mhm.
And if they find somebody that they really really resonate with, then hopefully they go on and they continue. But something not just like oh, here, check this out, and then they never do anything with it. So, a meditation or a resource that is going to help people really get results.
Yeah, wonderful. How did you first get into hypnosis, or how did hypnosis enter your life?
Wow. Let's see. I was always fascinated by hypnosis, but I didn't know that much about it. And I started researching everything as far as the spiritual realm, like I took Reiki classes, I became a Reiki master, and there was something missing. And I don't remember how it happened, but I got myself to a 4-day hypnosis training in California with Shelley Stockwell, who's amazing. And it just sort of opened the door. And from there, I went to HMI, which is a hypnosis school
Mm-hmm.
in California. And then I went on to other things. So it just started to snowball. Like, I think it was always there,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't actually start with hypnosis. I started with energy work.
Yeah.
And then found that no, I wanted to go deeper. I just have always liked the topic of the subconscious mind and why we do things, and it just one thing led to another, and I just
Uh-huh.
really went that way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That is often how people start doing hypnosis themselves is they'll take a training or it'll just come across their consciousness and they want to explore it further. And so they do.
Yeah, that's like I just had this. I don't know. It's like there was no real reason for me to go take this training, but I just couldn't help myself. It just sounded so exciting, and it really just opened the door to like this is just a peek into this world. And
Uh-huh.
then I just learned and read and did everything I could from then on.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think too, I have talked to people through the years who did a hypnosis training and then they never did anything with it. I think there's a percentage of people that happens, right? It comes across the radar and it's just not a good fit for them. But
Right.
then for the rest of us, we love it, right? Like we love
Yeah,
it. It just resonates. There's something about it that we really love to do and to read about and to explore and to work with.
absolutely. You just seem to like you can't get enough. It's like there's so many different aspects of it that it was sort of a non-ending journey. I mean, obviously it's
Yes.
still going, but it's amazing. I,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same way. Like I'm almost always reading at least one book about hypnosis in addition to other books that I read, but there's almost always one going
right?
with hypnosis as the focus,
I know it's
Yeah.
an obsession. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you begin to do it professionally?
Well, I took the training and it was a great training, but it was one of those, oh my gosh, I know I don't know anything, you know?
Uh-huh.
So, well, I was reading, and then I signed up for a real training, like a longer term training.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I did NLP, I started reading about NLP and I started combining all these modalities.
Okay,
Mhm.
NLP, for people who don't know, is neuro-linguistic programming, and it's a language technique that falls into the hypnotic realm.
I started with Reiki because I had the right certifications. You know, I'm all about, I had this mentality that I needed certification. So I had the Reiki master teacher certification. So I felt okay doing Reiki.
Mhm.
And so I would do Reiki. And then with some of the clients, I'd say, hey, would you mind if we, you know, tried something a little different? And I would use my hypnosis training to see how that went. And
Mm.
I just kept getting, really good feedback. And it just sort of like, I guess the word again is snowballed into I let the Reiki go and I just started focusing on hypnosis. And it just
Ah,
transitioned.
yeah, that makes sense to me. It's like
Really?
then
Okay.
oh yeah, because then you begin to attract hypnosis clients.
Yes, I loved it. But it was like I had this fear, like I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough. I need more certifications. So I did certifications in everything.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's like, oh, well, as soon as I get the weight loss certification, I will be 100% in and get
Uh-huh.
it. Like, well, as soon as I get the ADD, I'll be 100%. And I just did certification after certification. It wasn't until I just said, okay, forget it. This is what I like. Let's just see what happens. And it did.
Uh-huh.
It just blossomed.
So it's a letting go process as well for you. Or
Yeah.
jumping
It was
jumping in and letting go.
and realizing like, okay, there's always going to be more certifications.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you just have to go for it. I think that's probably why I want to do this meditation that I want to do, the imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
because I think that's huge for a lot of us when we're starting.
Yeah, I think that it's more prevalent for women, and research supports that as well, that we have this sense that we're not good enough somehow, or we don't have enough training, or someone's going to discover us, right? Like someone's going to, not in a good way, like expose us. Someone's going to expose us somehow for a fraud. And it's like, no.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
It,
first heard about the imposter syndrome actually when I was in graduate school. So that's about 20 years ago for me.
okay.
But it
Wow.
is a fascinating concept, and it's stuck around because it is so prevalent for people.
Yeah, I think it really is because I look back and I think, you know, after the first like 5 trainings, I was okay. I could do it. I've been certified like 4 different times, but
Mhm.
I kept thinking that the next one was going to be the real one.
Mhm.
And it was my perception that had something to do with it. And I hear a lot of clients tell me the same thing. No, I'm not ready. I'm like, you are.
What do you think helps the most with imposter syndrome?
Well, first of all, realizing that if they've done the training and they have the knowledge, then they really are ready. It is a mental block or an emotional block, a
Mm.
fear, whether it's illogical or logical, or if it's from childhood or whatever it is, to find out what that specific fear is, what it is that's holding them back, and that's what's holding them back. It's not that they're not ready. It's
Okay.
their
Do
mindset.
you find that that varies from client to client?
I think it does. Yeah. I don't think it's a huge variable. Everything is so specific to what they perceive. Is it
Mhm.
that they're not good enough, or is it they're going to be called out and they're not going to have the right answers, or did they get the wrong training? I mean, it could be so many different fears, but I
Mhm.
think it all invariably comes down to fear.
So, what's a typical base fear that you would say evolves that belief that somehow, they're an imposter in whatever they're doing?
Let's see. I think for me, it was the fear of being like called out. Like, what if somebody asks me a question and I don't have the answer?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah.
deer in the headlights. Oh my gosh, okay, so I don't know, right? It's
Right.
it's
Yeah. I
it's
say that
realizing
often.
that.
I'm like, I have no
Do you?
idea. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's like,
do.
okay, it's
I'm
like,
like, I have no
and,
idea.
and
Or
that's
I
totally
don't
cool.
know. Yeah, but sometimes it's a hypnosis question. Sometimes it's, obviously other topics because I see people for all kinds of
Uh-huh,
different things. But it took me years to be able to say that though, and to say it very frankly, like, oh, I don't know. I have no idea here,
uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah, and it's really funny because at least with hypnosis, when you're working with a client, you don't necessarily have to have all the answers. It's coming from them, right?
yes,
So
yes.
it's kind of funny. So I think that it's okay to say, "Hey, I don't know." That's probably a big barrier. So once
Uh-huh.
people like realize it, you can say, "I don't know," and they're not going to throw stones at you. They're going to be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Like nothing's going to happen. I think those are the little roadblocks, the little um, I don't know, bumps in the road that once they're smoothed out, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. I attended a workshop for dream interpretation. This was years ago, probably like close to 10, I would say. And there was a quote by, I think it was C.G. Jung. The quote was to start when someone says, okay, here's a dream for you, right? Which is always a gift from a client. Here's a dream, or a friend or a partner, whoever that is. That's a gift. But the first thing to say to yourself is, I have no idea. And then that frees up the mind to say, but I think it could be this, this, and this, right? So that's always stuck with me in
Oh, I
terms
like
of,
that.
yeah, right? It's like clearing the mind, taking the
Yeah,
pressure off,
right. Like
saying,
you don't have to know.
yeah, exactly. You don't have to know because it's an exploration with them. So I
I like.
always find that fascinating, and it fits with what you're saying, like, right? Like we don't have to know all the answers. We don't have to know how everything works, but we just know that it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take the pressure off, and then things flow so much easier. And what you actually are working on just seems to, come together. And I think that
Yes,
pressure of like, I need to be perfect. I need to know. I need to, have all the answers is a detriment.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And I don't know if you get this, but sometimes I'll get someone in my office who's just like, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do.
Yeah. No.
Like, oh, geez, I don't know. And I'm just kidding. I mean,
Yeah.
yes.
Holy.
Yeah, I have some really good ideas for them because, we are trained, right? But,
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to switch tracks here for a moment
Okay.
and ask you about the other hypnosis you were considering, because I know that's going to be a topic of interest to people as well. Attracting, how did you put it? Attracting wealth or getting rid of that fear of lack?
The fear of lack.
The fear of
Yeah.
lack. Okay.
Yeah. I call it money panic. And
Oh,
it's like,
that's great. I love it. I love That's totally what it is, right? The money panic. Yeah.
it, it totally is.
You
Yeah. You
totally
look at
relate to that. Yeah.
it's like when you look at your phone and your balance has reached $0. It's like, that panic that people get, or that I get when I see my phone and it's like, look, you know, lack. And
Uh-huh.
so it's taking that feeling and not reframing it, but like really working it through. Like I'm just getting rid of the panic that goes with the whatever situation is happening, because it is temporary. It's always temporary, and it's just working through, I guess it would just the negative feelings around it, so you can just, no matter whatever's happening, just be okay with it. Like, okay, so I didn't make the deposit I was supposed to make, and all right, it's going to be fine. I'll get to the bank tomorrow,
Uh-huh.
whatever. And just not have the panic,
Mm.
not have the emotion attached to it. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. So I've worked with a coach called Joan Sotkin, and she actually lives in New Mexico. I think she's in Santa Fe. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. She's in New Mexico somewhere.
Nice.
And she's probably not in your tiny little town. So,
Yeah, doubtfully. There's like
right.
20
Okay.
people here.
Yes. Yeah. But she talks a lot about that money panic, that fear as being related to childhood messages we get and the messages that our families give us. So, what has your experience been in terms of working with people around that?
I would say most definitely. It's childhood, and I also work with past lives. Okay, so
Oh,
if you're
awesome.
open to that, yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's, I try to get people to go back to wherever these messages started, and it's often before this childhood. It'll be reinforced in their childhood now, most likely.
Uh-huh.
But if we can trace it back to a previous lifetime, a previous incarnation, and go right to wherever the fear or I'm going to call it an imprint, or whatever the issue is, wherever the root cause is, wherever it started. If we can go back there, explore that, bring that out, work with that a little bit,
Mhm.
that will end up just being like the biggest shift that they can imagine, that you can imagine.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when someone comes to you for this, do you initially propose like, oh, it could be related to your past life. Let's go back and see. Or is it something that just seems to you evolve naturally when you're doing hypnosis with them?
It evolves pretty naturally. And what I will do is I will, when I'm getting to know somebody, when we're talking before we do the hypnosis, I'll ask some questions like, well, what do you think about this? What would happen if, would you be open to a past life? And they'll either be like, well, no, I don't believe in that. Or, yeah, it's possible. I'll keep that in the back of my mind,
Mhm.
but I allow them to take me to where we need to go. If when I start asking them to go back, if they suggest that, I don't think it's this lifetime, then I'll go with it, because then I already have permission, and that's following. I like to follow their lead. Does that
Uh-huh.
make sense?
Yes. So you're asking this question under hypnosis?
I will.
Hmm.
I'll find out before hypnosis what their reality is, if that's even a possibility. Some are like, yes, I totally believe, and others are like, impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So that will kind of set the tone. Although the best ones have been, I mean, for me, the funnest are the
Uh-huh.
ones when the client will say, no, I don't believe in any of that. And
Uh-huh.
then in their hypnosis, they will go to a past life. And they'll be like, this is really weird. I'll be like, this is so much fun.
That's sort of like me. I actually, I had heard people say like, "Oh, you can go back to in utero," and I was like, "I don't know about that, right? Like, I don't think that's true."
Uh-huh.
Until I
No,
did
thank
one
you.
time under hypnosis, and I was like, "Oh, I guess you can." Uh-huh.
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
All right, I was wrong.
yeah, it is. It is pretty fun, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's totally fun.
So it's something
Yeah.
that evolves sometimes. I'm hearing like when you're putting them in hypnosis, and then you're asking the questions, and they're going back and back.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't usually know what any session is going to look like
Uh huh.
until after the session. Like it usually will just go where it needs to go. It's really fun that way.
That's
Yeah.
a difference that people don't realize sometimes when they come
Mhm.
in, because we do hear about these hypnosis that you can download, right? Or on YouTube or something like that. And so often they tend to think that's what it's going to be like, right? Like
Right.
it's like when I download. And when you're doing exploratory work and really trying to solve a deeper problem, then it is an exploration and all kinds of stuff comes up that surprises not just me, but the client too.
Sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that makes it fun. And I think it also makes it just so much more powerful. When they're
Yes.
guiding it and they're finding these things, it's just so, um, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it's fun too. I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. It was the other day someone had said to me that they had dated someone at some point who was a therapist, and she'd come home every day and say how awful her job was and it's so sad and she's freaking out and all this stuff. And I was like, and they thought that was how all therapists were. And I said, no, like that's specific to her. And I don't know what's going on with her. Right.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I love my job. Like I go home like absolutely saying I had the best work day most days. Like I
I,
love what I do. I walk out happy. Like, yeah, it's fun and we're doing healing and we're helping people solve these deep problems. Like, what could be more fun?
I know it's amazing. It's like, how did we get so lucky to have
Yeah,
this
that's
job?
exactly. It's exactly what I feel like. Like, how do I get so lucky? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of our time. Could you let people know two things? One, how to contact you if they like to work with you. And two, the website that's going to have all the free meditations and hypnosis files.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can be found at robinyates.com. That's ROBINYATES.com. That's me. The website with all the healing meditations is actually called healing-meditations.com.
Okay, wonderful. And that's going to be in the show notes for everyone listening. It's a wonderful site. I've checked it out and you're going to have some absolutely wonderful stuff on there. So I encourage everyone to go visit. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you sharing your journey with us and your story and all the free offerings. Absolutely love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
I hope you truly enjoyed today's episode. Remember that you can get free hypnosis downloads over at my website, drlizhypnosis.com, DRLIZ hypnosis.com. I work all over the world doing hypnosis. So if you're interested in working with me, please schedule a free consultation over at my website, and we'll see what your goals are and if I can be of service to you in helping you reach them. Finally, if you liked today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast or tell a friend. That way, more and more people learn about the power of hypnosis. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. Peace.